Hey guys, welcome back to NY Sports MC. I see we got Steven already in the building. How's it going, Steven? Um, so welcome back in tonight. I hope everybody's doing well. I know there's a lot of craziness going on in the world, but we're not even going to get into that. I'm wearing my October baseball Mets shirt as just a hopeful that the baseball season can come to an agreement. We can get some sports back. Really just missing out. I mean, it sucks to not be able to watch some baseball games while we wait for the football season to come, but hopefully they come to an agreement pretty soon. Wanted to start off today. We're going to wait a little bit here. Since I didn't do a second video again this week on the position breakdown, for the first time on the channel, I'm actually going to do it live here on the show. We'll probably start that at around 9:30 or so. We'll just kind of chat up a little bit here beforehand. So we did do the cornerbacks earlier in the week. Let me start this chat off right. I know you're close to the Mets field, but the Mets ball. Are you a Yankees fan, Steven? Yeah, I just followed in my dad's footsteps with all the teams. Just love the Mets. Actually, the funny thing, when I was real little and I really didn't know anything better and I wasn't really following baseball yet, I was actually a Yankee fan. I don't know if I was being defiant towards my dad or not, but I just said I was a Yankee fan. I really didn't know much. I was a big David Wells fan, and I don't know if it was the same exact offseason or very similar in time when David Wells left the Yankees and Mike Piazza went to the Mets. And that's when I really started following baseball. I was a huge Mike Piazza fan, and the rest is history. Caleb, yeah, so I'm Mets, Jets, Knicks. I'm not really a hockey fan, but if I had to pick a hockey team, it would probably be the Rangers. But I don't know anything about hockey. I couldn't name you any of the players on the team. I did get back into it in about what year was that? I want to say the year that the Rangers went to the Stanley Cup. I actually was living with family for a little bit in between jobs, and they were huge, huge Ranger fans. So, hey, I was just kind of there, and they were watching the games, so I started watching the games with them and really got into it. But then when I moved out into my own place again, just stopped watching again. So Scotland, Caleb's coming all the way from Scotland. I really appreciate that. Coming to check out the channel from there. That's great. Boo Rangers. I don't know anything about the Rangers right now. Like I said, if I had to pick one, I guess that's what it would be, because I know that one year I was kind of all in with my family there watching. But so what did you guys think about the corner rankings? I think it's pretty straightforward, the corners. I guess the only spot where you could have potentially went a little different. I tell you what, the top three are all very good cornerbacks. We're really lagging quite a bit behind on that category. But I don't even know did hockey come back yet? I heard that it was going to be coming back. Not sure if it did yet or not. But I don't even know who's good anymore. Like I said, I haven't followed hockey in a while. Just trying to get a few more people to come over. Sending a little reminder text to some people. But so I did not make a video on the whole Jets looking to – it'll be the first to play it of the four. Yeah, Jets fans so wanted to pick a team I could see in one visit. Never liked the Rangers. Okay. So I never created a video on the Manish Mehta rumors about the Jets trying to convince Kyle Long to come out of retirement. I wasn't sure how much I believed it, and then very shortly after it came out that it was not true, but Manish keeps saying that it is true. I saw he was answering questions on Twitter the other day, and a few people asked him about it, and he said it is true. It wasn't a rumor. They did talk to him, but Kyle Long himself came out and said that he has not spoken to the Jets. So either he's trying to keep some leverage, or Manish is just making things up, right? Or maybe his sources are just not accurate anymore. I don't want to go down that path again of bringing back somebody that was retired and, it didn't work well for us last year. I think we have enough people right now anyway. So I wouldn't approach that. And that's why I saw it as just a non-issue, non-topic. So I didn't make the video on it. But just wanted to give my quick little take on that now. They have a starting 5 and 5 to back up. We're good there now. Yeah, like I said, I still think they need improvements along that line. It's just not going to happen this offseason. So just got to see if they can continue to develop. They got a lot of young guys up there now too, so we'll see what happens with them. Just like we're good at corner, middle linebacker, and quarterback. Yeah. So the interesting thing, I saw somewhere on Twitter as well. I think it was I think they can still keep Fales. I don't think Fales is going to get cut right away. Initially, I thought that, and then when Flacco kind of came out and said that he's probably not going to be ready or may not be ready for week 1, that kind of was something that, made me a little hesitant. Maybe we do keep Fales. That would scare me in the beginning, right? Hopefully, like I said, hopefully Sam plays all 16. We don't even care. It's a non-issue, but if Flacco's not ready in the beginning, our backup quarterback is very, very suspect. Dark Demonic, how's it going? I agree. If we go down that route now, it has to be cheap. Yeah, so like I said, they got the people. They brought in enough people for that offensive line to have some competition, to have some depth. I think what we have is what we're going into with. I know a lot of people kept saying about Warford. He's not going to come here. I know there's a big portion of the fan base that wants him. There's a big portion of the fan base that also believes exactly what I believe, in that he's just not a good fit for the people that Joe Douglas is trying to bring in. So the thing is, and then the argument that I've been hearing back is, well, he's better than Brian Winters. He's better than Alex Lewis. Okay, sure, right? He is better than those guys, but he doesn't fit the system, right? He doesn't fit the types of players that Joe Douglas is trying to bring in. So you don't bring him in just because he's better than the people you have if he's not fitting the system and not fitting what you're trying to build moving forward. You may retain the guys that you already have on the contract because you have to have players on the team, right? But and you can't replace them all in one offseason. So that's why I can see those guys potentially still being on the roster. But, yeah, he's not going to just bring in somebody just to bring him in. Nothing going on in the sports world, sadly. But do you think the fans will be in the stands by football time? I'm starting to believe so. Yeah, I'm starting to believe so too, Dark Monic. And I did read something that Governor Murphy in New Jersey was saying that he expects fans to be in the stands. So that I tell you what, this whole protesting is going to potentially be really big in reopening the economy. I mean, all these people out there protesting, they're on top of each other, walking together. If we don't see a big second spike, people are going to start to really get confidence back that they can go outside and they can interact and they can be around people. So I think that this could be huge for everything going on, sports coming back, people going back to their normal lives. The fact that these people are right next to each other, on top of each other, it doesn't get any closer than what's happening in these protests and these marches. If there's not a big second wave, everything's going to go back quicker than we even thought. You wanted him, but believe in Joe, feel he won't fit, then we go with that. Yeah, and that's the thing. I said, I believe in Joe too. Joe has done everything that I like so far, so it's no reason to doubt him at this point, and we're going to just keep sticking forward with him. So see, in Jersey, June 15th, restaurants open for outside dining. June 22nd, barbershops and salons. July 7th, we can stop wearing masks. So, yeah, look at that. I mean, and then the football season isn't even close to starting yet. Training camps will start in I believe it's late July or early August. I really think that they should give them an extra week. I don't know if the players would like that. And adding an extra week or so to training camp. But I think they should give him an extra week. Maybe you get together with the coaches and say, hey, no pads or anything, kind of more like walkthroughs since you didn't have the in-person mini camps. Just kind of do something real light for like playbook purposes, right? Trying to get everybody on the field together just to kind of learn and incorporate some of your playbook a little bit. So I don't think they'll do it. I think they're just going to go with a regular training camp, no mini camps, and then we'll be off and running for the regular season. Likelihood of college football season resuming this year. I know not a Jets question, but in a way factors into NFL season. So I think the college one, I don't know. That one could be a little trickier because if the colleges are going to – and I'm not a huge college football fan. I'm really not. I really don't have a team. I don't watch. I think I want to start getting into it a little bit more, especially now that I'm doing a channel. I really just kind of started watching film on some people as I start to get ready for the draft, but I don't really – but it's going to be interesting because the colleges are set to lose a lot of money if they don't play. So I can see them wanting to play. But then again, you may have players now. Now it's a different situation in the NFL because these players aren't getting paid. So now it's like you want these college athletes to potentially put themselves at risk, and they're not getting paid to do so. So I think the college season is going to be a lot more interesting than the NFL. I think the NFL will be fine, but it'll be interesting to see, and it would factor in huge in the NFL draft. I don't know how, that'd be really tough on these scouts to get an evaluation and draft these guys if they don't have a season. So it would be interesting to see if they tailor anything or how they would even work that going in the leads up to next draft if they didn't have a season. So, because you got to think a lot of players get drafted every year. A lot of new people come in. You get people that's first-year starters that get drafted and drafted very high. You also get people who really raise their stocks from one year to the next. So it would have a dramatic impact. And I would feel really bad for a lot of those college players because some of them are going to make names for themselves this season if there is a season. And if they don't have that opportunity, you can see a lot of people going back to college to try to play the next year. So it would have a huge impact. But hopefully, like I said, I'm hoping everything gets back to normal. I'm hoping all the schools are kind of back to normal. My son's supposed to be going to preschool next year, so hopefully that's all back to normal. Down here in Florida, I know, Demonic, you're down here as well. We're pretty much back to normal. So I know, Steven, you were just saying about everything that's opening. What was it I think it was last weekend. I was driving to the Publix, the supermarket out here in Florida, and there was a Hurricane Grill and Wings in the center too. And they had a bunch of people outside eating. They had a lady sitting on a chair playing a guitar, singing to all the people sitting outside. I tell you what, it felt really good to see that. I just drove by. I didn't go into the restaurant or anything. I was just trying to pick up what I was trying to pick up. But it was just good to see people outside, somebody playing music, kind of like enjoying life again and interacting. So that was really, really cool to see. Yeah, absolutely, Caleb. It would be a year of a lot of steals and a lot of busts potentially with the fact that, they wouldn't be able to see them this whole year. Yeah, Demonic, I think, though, I don't know. I don't have a gym membership currently. I have a little gym in my garage. But I know when they first opened, they were saying, I think you had to call to schedule a time to go to the gym, though, because they were limiting the amount of people potentially. I don't know if that rule's still in effect or not, or if they're kind of opening back to normal. Should have been out a month ago. This whole thing is a sham. Yeah, I feel the same. I don't, didn't do the whole mask thing. Do you even lift, bro? No, I'm not going to lie. I used to. It kind of just sits there in my garage right now. I have to get back into it. I played college football. I played college soccer, and I was in the best shape of my life at that point. I lifted quite a bit. The end of my freshman year of college, I dislocated and fractured my elbow and never really got 100% back into it. I mean, a little bit before my wedding, I was getting back into it, and I was doing really well for quite a few months. And then I got married and lost my job and had to cancel the gym membership, and it all went back. So I got to get back into it, though, for sure. I enjoy working out, just, getting that start. Me and Demonic were talking about this in our Discord chat about just like dieting, right? The first month on anything you're doing is the most difficult time, and then you got to just kind of get back into it. The starting back up is the toughest, man. So I got to just do it. What's your teams in order of most passionate to not? So to watch my it's got to be the Jets, number one for sure, and then I would say Mets and the Knicks. And I think the Knicks are third just because they've been so bad for so long. And the NBA is just really brutal to watch now. I hate a lot of the things that they did. They made the game a lot softer. You can barely touch people. The superstars in the NBA now, too, they really, really bother me. They're constantly complaining for fouls, and they travel every other second. It's just so hard to watch. I watch a few minutes. These people aren't playing defense because you're not allowed to hand check anymore. And it's all about trying to score. And the NBA wants some scoring because scoring apparently brings fans, but it really turned me off of the game. It's hard to watch. It is. I even try to watch like when the playoffs come around, and I'm just like, there's a travel. That's not a foul. Like, it's painful. It's painful. But if you want to talk about most passionate sports to play, like if I had a bunch of guys and we can play any sport, I think soccer would be number one for me. That's just been my sport since I was a child to play. I don't watch it really because soccer here is just not that good. But I do watch it like the World Cup time, international. That's what I'm really, really passionate about. And then it would be probably football and basketball right there after. I was never really a baseball player. I'm not very good. So I'll play, though, but that would probably be fourth on my list. Shout out to Hibs fan for soccer. Then in Scotland. Keep an eye out for them. It's rehab months for the entire country. Getting back to normal is going to be a curve forever. Yeah, it is. Basketball blows. Basketball's a mess. Yeah, nobody likes basketball. Did you already come out with your running back ranking for the AFC East? No, Demonic. I'm doing that. It's going to be the first time I do one on the live stream. I wanted to wait a little bit to see if we got some more people. I'll probably start it in the next 10 minutes or so. I do have it here, my listing. It was actually a lot tougher than I thought. I had a ranking, and then as I was doing more research and really looking at the numbers, I switched it all around. So this is one where I feel like if we ended up getting some Bills, Dolphins, or Patriots fans in here, they can definitely argue this rankings, and I can argue against my own rankings as well. So it's going to be very interesting, and I want to see your guys' take on it too when we get that started. You know what? Let's just hop right into it, actually. So at number 4, this was, like I said, this was tough. I had the Buffalo Bills, and this is one where I can see them jumping up this rankings because you got a young running back in Devin Singletary who had a pretty nice rookie season, 775 yards, rushing, 2 touchdowns, 66 PFF grade. Also added 194 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. So very, very good year for him as a rookie season. Look to see him take the next step. They also drafted Zach Moss, who some people think could eventually even take over Singletary's spot. I think it'll be a good complement for each other too. But the reason I put them at number 4 is you got a running back that's coming off his rookie season and another one who is going to be a rookie. So I put them at number 4 just because of the lack of experience and the lack of proven commodities there. So I want to see more, but those 2 guys have the ability to be a really, really solid 1-2 punch in this division, and they can jump up the boards. So I just have them there for lack of experience right now, but I think there's a lot of potential in that Buffalo Bills backfield. especially when if you factor in Josh Allen's running abilities, that running unit is going to be higher, right? Number 3, I have the Miami Dolphins. So they completely rehauled their running backfield. They added two veterans to the roster, and Matt Breida and Jordan Howard. I think these guys are going to play well off of each other. I think they're going to complement each other really well. I like the fact that Breida's kind of got that speed. He's got that ability to take it outside. Howard is kind of more that balance back. So Breida had last year 623 rushing yards for the 49ers with 1 touchdown, had a PFF grade of 73.1. Also contributed 120 receiving yards and 1 receiving touchdown. Jordan Howard for the Eagles last year put up 525 yards, 6 touchdowns, 69 Pro Football Focus rate, 69 receiving, and 1 touchdown. So, like I said, I think they could be a pretty good combo. I think they pretty much are what they are, though, at this point. That's why I can definitely see the Bills potentially overtaking the Dolphins at some point, because I feel like the upside for those players on the Bills is much higher than that of the Dolphins. At number 2, we have the team that is probably the deepest at this position in the division, and that is the New England Patriots. You look at Sony Michel, 912 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, 68 Pro Football Focus rate, also contributed 94 receiving yards, no touchdowns. Then you have White, 263 rushing yards. He's not in there to really rush the ball. 1 rushing touchdown, 76 Pro Football Focus grade. So actually, out of all the running backs last year, that is the highest Pro Football Focus grade for James White. He had 645 receiving yards and 5 receiving touchdowns, was both best in the division. He is in there to be that receiving back, and he does it very, very well. Then they even have the third option, and Rex Burkhead. He had 302 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, 70.2 PFF, and it contributed 279 yards receiving and 0 touchdowns. So they got 3 guys there that can really come in and contribute. It is the Patriots, right? They rotate these backs all the time. That's why they do have that depth there, because they like to keep using whoever is the hot hand at that time. It's going to be interesting to see how well they do it. Now, everything's contingent on the quarterback, right? So you go from Tom Brady, one of the best of all time, to Jarrett Stidham. It's going to be an adjustment, right? Brady knew when to get that ball to White in the flat and on those quick routes, right? Stidham could take sacks in those situations, right? Or get it there too late, different things like that, right? Brady was great at getting it into their hands when they were in space so that they could make moves, right? So we got to see if that's something that they can still do. But the fact that they had 3 people that they can turn to at any point, I had to put him at number 2. And then that obviously leaves us to number 1, and that is our New York Jets. Le'Veon Bell is by far the best running back in the division. I still think he is a top running back in the whole league. You look at his stats last year, his yards per attempt were very, very low, lowest of his career, but he did still rush for 789 yards, 3 touchdowns, Pro Football Focus rate of 73.8, which was second best in the division. He also contributed 461 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. So that puts him over 1,000 total yards, 4 touchdowns. If we watch those games, we all know, right, how awful this offensive line was, how much they really struggled this past year. Bell was dodging people as soon as he was receiving these handoffs. The fact that he gained positive yards and that he gained 3 yards a carry, and the fact that he still had 789 yards, that shows you how talented he still is. He did not lose his step. He didn't have opportunity to get to the speed he was at. Now, people will bring up sometimes the point of Bilal Powell and how well Bilal Powell did when he was put in games. They have different running styles. And Le'Veon Bell is that patient runner who's going to sit there behind the line and look for the holes and make the cuts and then hit it. But when your offensive line cannot hold and they cannot create that hole, it's harder, right? And Bilal Powell is just more of a hit it. He just goes, right? It's in the A gap, he's running through that A gap. It's in the B gap, he's running through that B gap, right? He's not waiting. He's not trying to pick the better hole or to break one, right? He's just hitting it, and then he's just going. And also, I feel like with Powell, with Bell, I think they were crowding the box a little bit more, especially early in the season when Darnold was out. So I anticipate with an improved offensive line that Bell is going to have a much better year this year than he did last year. I think he's going to go back to being one of the better backs in the league. And then you add Frank Gore, right? Number 3 rusher all time. He put up 599 yards last year, 2 rushing touchdowns, 64.1 Pro Football Focus rate, 100 receiving yards, no receiving touchdowns. And we also have P. Ryan, who we added in the draft as our 3rd. So I think that just the star power of having Bell there and having an improved offensive line will bring him back. Best football movies you've ever seen. Put me on the spot with football movies here. Let me just I'm trying to think of a bunch of them. There's a lot of good football movies. There's not really any that I don't like. I mean, obviously, Remember the Titans is a great movie. Of course, now that you tell me best football movies ever, I can't even think of any. But I even liked – I know some people didn't like, what was it, Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. I thought that was a good one too. The one with Woody Harrelson, 26, The Cougars. Thanks. I really liked – you know what I really liked? I've only ever seen it like once or twice. I like Draft Day quite a bit too. I'm very interested in the draft, and I love that time of the year. So I thought that movie was very interesting. I think that it was very unrealistic, those trades that he made, but it was a really, really good movie. There's a lot, man. What are your favorites, Demonic? Like I said, I don't know any that I didn't like, really. It was that those trades were ridiculous. He trades down, gets all his picks back. That would have never happened. That GM would have been fired on the spot. To think of it, there is not a football movie I did not dislike you. That you did not dislike. So you hate all football movies? Did I read that correctly? Wow, Demonic's not a fan of the football movies, it seems like. Yeah, the replacements is hilarious. See, I'm not even like thinking of some of these, but oh my god, that movie's hilarious. Oh, okay, you typed it in wrong. Well, there's just so many parts of the replacements that is just so funny. I love when they're in jail and they just all start dancing after they get in the big fight. Any Given Sunday, there's a lot of good like shows based off it too. You guys watch All American? I just started watching that now. I just binged however many seasons there are, like a month ago. Necessary Roughness. I don't know if I've seen that one. I gotta look it up. Unnecessary Roughness. Let's see this. No, I've never seen that one. I'm going to have to watch it. Released 1991. Well, it was released when I was 1 year old, so that might be why I didn't see it when it first came out. But definitely going to go back and watch it. Blindside was all right, too. I only ever watched that one once. Oh, okay, Necessary. Sorry, Demonic said unnecessary. It came out right after Giants beat the Bills in the Super Bowl. Yeah, no, I'll definitely check it out. I'm always looking for, especially with everything going on now, and not really much to do outside. So, definitely been watching a lot more TV. So, Demonic's just having a rough day, rough go of it. So, what were your guys' thoughts, man, on the running back position? Like I said, that's how I got it right now. So, if we recap it, I got the Bills at number 4. The Dolphins at number 3, the Pats at number 2, and our Jets at number 1. Draft day is fucking awesome. Yeah, it's just like you said, it's just not that realistic. That's the only thing. It was a great movie, but it's not that realistic. I would just love to. That was one of my dreams. Like I went to school for sports management. I really would have loved to be in the front office, a GM or something like that, but gave up on that very quickly. Still have to go outside and walk around. Don't stay inside. You're gonna lower your immune system. Not good. Yeah, no, I definitely still do, Steven. I went to a few stores today. I was actually sweating. It was so humid today. I don't know how it was because I think you're on the west side, Demonic, of Florida, if I remember correctly. But it was so humid here. My phone said it was like 90, felt like, or 89, felt like 100, 62% humidity. I was working in the garage a little bit, and I was mowing the lawn. It was just unbelievable. It was cloudy, so the sun wasn't beating on me, but the humidity, I was more drenched than if the sun was beaming on me. It was unbelievable today. But that's what happens in Florida. I think the Jets are number 1, but we would be stupid to rule out Pats having something up their sleeves. Yeah, well, I was just talking about the running backs, Caleb. So this year, I think the division is wide open. I mean, and I think that I don't think there's any stinkers really in our division anymore. I think the Dolphins I would put at number 4. If we're looking at just the division and how I think that they're going to end up, the Dolphins at number 4, but I wouldn't be surprised if they still won 6 or 7 games this year, right? They do have some talent there. My thing with them, though, is this is Fitzmagic's disappearing season. He played amazing last year, so now it's time for him to fade away so he can go to another team next year. Somehow the starter will get hurt, and he'll take over again and do his thing like he always does. And I really don't think that they should put Tua in. And I think the biggest thing, too, is that their offensive line is going to be bad this year. They're starting 2 rookie tackles. Their guards are not very good. Their center's not very good. So it's going to be – I think that they're going to struggle a little bit on the offense. That's why I'm going to put them at number 4. And then he's 38. He's done after this year. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not counting him out until he's gone for good. But then after that, I mean, the Bills, Dolphins, and the Bills, Pats, and Jets, the Pats are going to be the biggest teeter-totter team. Who knows what they can do. And then I think the Jets are going to be right there neck and neck with the Bills. I really do. I don't think we're that far off. I've had this conversation before. I had a little rant about it. Bills 8 to 10 wins. Yeah, that's about right. 8 to 10 wins. It's going to depend on – Allen's going to have to prove that he can throw the ball more this year. I don't think the running thing's going to keep working. He's going to have to prove he can be accurate in the pocket and win from the pocket. Do you think Wesco can blast better the running backs? Do you think Wesco can blast better the running backs? I'm not 100% sure. If you mean will he block better for the running backs, I think Wesco is going to play a lot of that hybrid tight end fullback role, and he will be lead blocking quite a bit for them. I really like Wesco. I think he's a very, very good blocker, and I think he's deceptively good in the passing game. I just don't think he gets used there that much. He's not the fastest of tight ends, but he's got good hands. I think he could be a really nice balanced tight end eventually for us. He's still got to develop, but he's the best blocking tight end that we have on the team for sure. Jets 6 to 9 wins. I'd up that. I'd go. The Jets need to be between 7 to 10 wins, and I can easily see that happening. So they got to be 7 to 10 wins. Pats 6 to 9. Pats. I can see the Pats winning a bunch of games. I can see them losing. I can see them competing for the division. I can see them competing for the first pick. It's going to be interesting. That stellar defense is going to keep them in games for sure. The defense is still going to be very good. They have probably the best secondary in the league, and it's going to keep them in games. It's just going to be who's their quarterback and how well are they playing, whether they win a bunch of games or they don't. It's going to be very interesting to see. I think we'll know kind of early on where they'll be. He was 33 and 34 when he was with us in 2015. Yeah, no, he's definitely getting up there in age, for sure. Phone 4 to 8. I'm assuming that's supposed to be the Finns, Dolphins, 4 to 6 wins for them. Oh, yep. See, Finns, autocorrect. Any time with an above average QB is beating us. Any team with an above average QB is beating us. Any team with an average QB or lower is not beating us. So I wouldn't make much of a blanket statement on it because, well, I don't have the schedule right here in front of me. Probably just because our secondary is so poor. But so above average quarterback, I don't think I think we could beat the Colts. I think Rivers is still above average, right? So it depends what you're deeming above average, I guess there. Patriots are going to be good because they have Belichick. Our season depends on Darnold. If Darnold gets hurt, we will have not win any games, as proof the last backup QB to win for us in the regular season was Petty. Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, Flacco did not really show much the last 2 seasons either. So I was never a huge Flacco fan. I think they won those Super Bowls more based on the rest of the team than Flacco. But I'm just hoping that he can help Sam in developing just with the veteran presence and that he never has to play for us. Rivers blows. We're beating Bills and the 49ers to start the year. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked, Stephen, if we did. So the Bills, like I said, I think we were right there. The reason I think we could beat the 49ers is it's going to be a low-scoring game, I believe. Because if you look at what the 49ers were good at, they were a running team, right? Jimmy G does not scare me. Their receivers don't scare me that much, right? We had the number 2 rush defense without C.J. Mosley and without Avery Williamson. You put them back in that middle of the field, I think we shut down their running game. I do. And then they were not going to be able to move the ball that well. It's just going to be a matter of can Darnold move the ball against them. And it's really going to be if that offensive line can hold off those – because the front 7 of the 49ers is stout. That defensive line is very good. Our offensive line is going to be tested early with the Bills and the 49ers in back-to-back weeks, and they're going to have less time to gel together. So they got to get a lot of reps together in the preseason and in training camp. So hopefully, like I said, if they can hold up, I think we can beat them because Sam Darnold is definitely better than Jimmy G. And I would say if you got 2 quarterbacks going up against stellar defenses, I'm putting my money on Sam Darnold. Joe was awful last 2 years. Joe Flacco, he's talking about. Didn't show much. He has the ability and a healthy second year from Quinn Williams. Yeah, Quinn Williams, like I said, I think he's in. They got us. So last year, they didn't really. I got this from that guy, Joe Blewett, who does Jets X Factor. I think he was talking about it when he was on Ryan's channel, Jets 24 Talk 7. That Quinn was really used to occupy blocks and free up other people. And I hope they don't use him like that again this year. I don't think they will. I think that was more because he was hurt and he was playing hurt that they were using him to occupy blockers. So people who had healthier legs, right, because he had a lower leg injury and couldn't move as well as he normally can. I think, that's why they were kind of using him as that decoy route and just kind of trying to clear some other people free. So, I think we're going to see a much, much better year from Quinn Williams this year. He seems to work very, very hard. He's got a really good attitude, so I think he's going to do much better. But remember, Namath didn't have a great Super Bowl either. Namath blows. Fucking jinx. 1.5. Steven is not a fan of Namath. Yeah, it has an icon status. Yeah. Well, it's because of the importance of that game. That's what it was. It was the importance of that game. It really helped to shape the NFL in the way it is now. First AFC team to win and really get that respect and helped with the merger of the league. So that's why it's more like what he did for the game. Yeah, that icon status for sure. But like if he was just playing for us in the 80s or 90s, nobody even be talking about it probably. And the fact that he was just Broadway Joe, he had the fur coats and all that. He was just a character too. Do you think there will be a few more long throws this year? I do, John. I think they were taking some shots last year too. It's just very difficult when he didn't have time, right? So with the improved offensive line, he should have more time to take shots. And I think you have a lot of people in which to take those deep shots with. So now you're going to have Perryman, who can definitely go back there. Mims has got the speed. And I really think Vincent Smith is still going to be rotating in. I think he's going to be that fourth wide receiver. I think they're going to design some go routes for him. Because you even saw last year that they had some design plays for him to get deep because he can get behind a defense. And when he's the fourth guy out there, you're not going to have the safeties kind of looking over to help him over on him. So I think he can take advantage of some other corners and really beat some people deep. So I do think that as long as this offensive line is improved as we think it's going to be, and they give Sam some more time, that they will take some more deep throws. He has icon status because he played in the Super Bowl that was fixed. Put AFC on the map. It was going to be on the map no matter what that following year. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it is what it was a perfect storm for him. I mean, like I said, he won that first one. And he was so charismatic. He had, like I said, the fur coats. Just that's Joe Willie, right? It's just he was a character, and he was in the limelight. He was in New York, and he just was this huge personality, and that helped to create that icon status and that fame. So, come on, guys, let's hit that like button. We got 2 likes and 10 people. But we got to be, thankful for Joe. But like a lot of people say, I know Steven and my uncle are in the same category here. He's jinxing the team and sold his soul to the devil. So that's why we can't win any Super Bowls or get to any Super Bowls because he put the jinx on us. So we gotta wait that out. But I really do think that Sam is the franchise quarterback. Though I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe it's not too much of a limb, but say that he's going to win us a Super Bowl at some point. I really do believe in Sam. The thing with Sam, what makes me feel so much more confident of him than I even did with Sanchez or with Gino when he's first starting playing is how resilient this guy is and how short of a memory he has and how he learns from his mistakes. I mean, look at the way his career started. Pick 6, first play. And then he goes on to destroy an NFL team in that very same game. That's impressive. He had the ghost game this past year, and then comes back and still has a very strong second half to this season. So the ability to move forward and move past those things is really, really impressive. And I know a lot of people will go to his turnovers and say that he still does a lot of bonehead throws, and that is true. But I think that's going to just be more a part of his game, unfortunately. Hopefully he dials it back a little bit. I think as the talent around him gets better, he will. I feel like he was forcing a lot because he knew that he could, he had to, right? If you look at it, you're 22 years old, starting quarterback in the NFL. You get mono. You miss 3 games in which your team can't even score. They can't even get first downs. They can't move. Now you come back. Your offensive line is atrocious. And, the talent around him is just so poor that it's like, yes, he's 23 now. I'm talking about last year when he was 22. And he just turned 23 2 days ago. But, I think he was trying to do too much because he's like, hey, if I take this sack or if I throw this ball away, we just got to punt it anyway. And he's trying to fit balls in. But I think he does have I think he has that mentality of a gunslinger where he has so much faith and confidence in his ability and his arm that he is, I don't think he's ever going to lead the league in fewest interceptions thrown, right? Because he's going to believe and trust in his abilities, and he's going to try to put balls into very, very tight windows, and it's going to cost him from time to time. But then again, we can look back. Brett Favre's thrown the most interceptions in NFL history, right? And he did pretty well. He won a Super Bowl. So I think that, it's going to be more of that mindset. He's got to cut him down a little bit. He cut that out to fumbling, which was great because fumbling was a big issue in college for him. So that's the thing. I think he works on things and he corrects things quite a bit, and that's why I'm very, very high on him. We weren't even happy when we were making the playoffs and challenging. You ain't winning. Sam looks great, but Jets have to remember he's human, and we get behind the team. Management is key this year. Yeah, and they're starting to do a much better job of getting pieces around him. They can't do it all in one offseason. So we got to give Joe Douglas like 2 to 3 years to really get in the types of players that he wants here. Very, very confident in what they're doing. So we just got to wait and see. It's going to be a little bit of progress, but I think we should continuously get better here. It bothers me Sam is invisible in the fourth quarter. He had a lot of opportunities to win or ice the game in fourth quarter, and it seems even his good games were holding on for life at the end of the game. So that doesn't stick out to me too much. I'd have to really go back and look at it. But I know that, that's just something that's just been us. I think it has to do, again, with the talent around him, the play calling. I think that they were being very, very reserved in their play calling last year with the fact that Sam Darnold was wearing a flak jacket and the offensive line couldn't hold up anything. I think they were very, very reserved when it came to the play calling, which could affect that as well. Hey, Peyton had many INTs and Favre. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's just going to be part of it, right? It's just going to be – the thing is he has to just make sure that he's making smarter decisions and knows there are times where he has to throw it away, and he has to know that. And I think he's getting better at it. But we'll see continued progress. John, Key West, Florida here. Nice, John. I'm in Florida as well. I'm just probably about 3.5 hours north of you, maybe even more. I'm up in Port St. Lucie area. Yeah, I want to go catch the Jets game in Miami as well. I don't know if I'll go this year. My kid, my younger one is just turned 1. So unless I just take the older guy and go, but we'll have to see what happens. It's like the middle of the season too, so we'll see. I definitely want to go. If I don't go this year, I'm definitely going to go next year for sure. But I definitely want to. And that the Dolphins Stadium is not that bad to get to. I went to the Marlins Stadium, and that's when I was actually living down in Broward County, and that Marlins Stadium is just real deep in Miami. I don't know how often I'm ever going to go back there. That's too far for me. But at least the Dolphins Stadium is almost not even in Miami, and it's right there on the highway, so it's very easy to get to. It's really before all the crazy traffic in Miami. You in Miami, John. Nice, John. Was there a couple of years ago. Awesome fishing. Key West, Mims, Florida here. Yeah, there's quite a few Jets fans down in Florida. Because a lot of New Yorkers end up coming down to Florida, so you do get quite a few fans. I've heard. Now I don't know if Mr. Majinks, if you've been to one yet in previous years, but from what I've heard, or John, what I've heard is that the Jet fans really take over that stadium. It said the Miami doesn't have like huge fan bases for these sports. What do you enjoy doing more as a YouTube content guy? I really like collabing. I really enjoyed working with the Shunshine Sports Network. I think that's a lot of fun. I like being in here as well. I would say collabing with somebody else would probably be number one, just because I'm physically talking to somebody. And I'm a poor reader, and I hate going back to the chat to read. That's why you see me kind of pause for a second. But this would be second, and least favorite by far is just making the regular videos, because that's not where I'm on. I'm not here just to like talk to a monitor. I really want to be on here to interact with fans, talk with different people. So I love that you guys come out every Sunday night. We got a nice crew of people. We're gonna have to get on Lights and bust his chops. He hasn't been here in 2 straight weeks. He commented on last week's saying he was gonna be here this Sunday, and he's not here, at least not yet. But yeah, like I said, it's a lot of fun to just interact back and forth. So I want to do more collabs with some people. I just found out it's gonna be really hard. I wanted to do one on a live stream, but I'm actually talking to you guys on my work computer. And since it is a work computer, I'm not allowed to download different things. So I can't download the program needed to do live streams with a guest. And my personal computer is really old and really bad. So I'm going to have to get a new computer so that I can do that for you guys. But that's something that I love doing. So I'm gonna try to do some more. I've been talking with Sunshine Sports Network to try to get him back on again on a recorded one. We just haven't been able to get our schedules aligned. I've been pretty busy myself. Like I said, I wanted to do two of those videos a week, but we obviously did one here in the live stream because I did not get it out in time. But what do you guys like to see? Did you guys enjoy when I had somebody on the channel? Like I said, I love to get some more people on as well. Hoping in a few years going to New York for 3 days, Jets Devils games at least, then Florida for Disneyland. That'd be a nice trip for you there, Caleb. Yeah, I want to go back up and catch a Jets game too at some point. I'm definitely going to do that. Gets to be a good crowd of Jets fans. Florida's Disney World. Jets crowd brings out the Jets chants. Yeah, that's what I heard. We like take over that stadium. Gangrene David, what's going on? I guess the wrestling event is over. I know you were streaming the wrestling. The NXT, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I kind of stopped watching over the last few months. I got into WWE again recently, but kind of stopped watching as I canceled my cable. So I can't keep track every week. But glad to have you in here, David. I appreciate the support, man. Great stream. Whip out the Jets stuff in the back. Oh, so I do have my Jets autographed football here because I know you guys were saying that. This was before. This was the 08-09 season. So 08, because I graduated high school in 08, and then that August was training camp. So I think it's like Brian Thomas, David Harris, maybe. I think that's Jericho Cotchery. There's and I know there's Mike Nugent on here somewhere too, because and the reason I always remember when it was the year before I was going into my freshman year of college, and I was going to be playing football in college, kicking. And I had them call over Mike Nugent afterwards to talk to him a little bit about kicking. He was a very, very nice guy. Came over, took about 5-10 minutes to kind of talk to me about some different things, answer some questions. So that was really, really cool. I do have this that my sister got me quite a few years ago for Christmas. There's a bunch of like newspaper clippings. So as you guys may know, I did mention in one of my others, maybe it was in a chat, in a comment section. This is a new house. I just moved in on March 26th. I do plan on decorating the house. With everything going on with the coronavirus, I just haven't bought like different things. I want to get one of those fat heads or something, put it on the wall. So I definitely got to decorate it. I want to get some Jet stuff up there for sure, John. Todd just got in. How's it going, Todd? Yes. So see, David did say he just finished up. Great. You guys like watching fake sports. Yeah, so Steven, I watched it when I was a kid quite a bit. And then what happened was that same time when I told you about the whole Rangers thing when I was living with family, they were huge into wrestling. So again, every Monday night or so, we were watching Raw and everything. So I got back into it. Um, but now again, like I said, I stopped again. It just gives you something to watch. I mean, there's nothing to watch sometimes. So wish I was at the Colts game in 2018. I think I have the 2004 team football. I think that was the year they lost the heartbreaker at Pittsburgh. And what he missed like 2 or 3 that game, if I remember correctly. That was pretty bad. The life of a kicker, man, it's tough. Yes, nice, man. Pimp out the Jets room. Yeah, definitely. This is my office / guest room / my man cave. It's got three uses here in this room, so definitely gonna decorate it up. But I was cleaning out the garage today and I found the football. I said, let me get it in the back somewhere because I know you guys have been active for some stuff. But definitely gonna decorate it in here pretty soon. I just don't know, like with these newspaper clippings, I got to open it up and see what they are, how many I want to hang. I don't know if I want to frame some of them and hang them or just kind of tack them. I think if I just tack them up, it'll look a little rough. So I probably got to put some of them in frames or something. Yeah, 2 easy chip shots. That's what it was. Back in the day, wrestling was awesome. Back in the day, they were 40+ yarders. I think were they? I don't know. They might have been. Somebody's gonna have to look that up. But Gangrene David, if you're still in here, man, I think they want us to. I know that they've mentioned it to me before, and they mentioned in your live chat. I think they want us to collab on a piece soon. I know a bunch of people have said it to me in the past, so I'm up for it, man. If you are, you just let me know. Oh man, it is pouring. It just started raining pretty hard outside. But so what? Let's see. We got to think of what position group we're doing next. You guys got any suggestions for position group for the next video? So we did quarterback, we did offensive line, we did running back now, we did tight ends, we did corners. So the only thing we have left on the offense is wide receiver, and then we have pretty much everything else on defense, though. I've been wanting to do that wide receiver one for a little bit. I may do that one regardless of what you guys say. But if there's a position group that you guys want to see next on the defensive side, just let me know. And for whoever's going to mention the kickers, I am going to do the kickers and the special teams. That's probably going to be the last one I do, though. Linebackers. So I was watching, like I said, I've been reading some different articles about ranking the East too. Like I said, that's what kind of got me started on the series. And the linebackers and defensive line is going to be tough because not everybody runs the same defense. So it's going to be really difficult to kind of try to evaluate teams that run 3-4 versus 4-3 because the guys are asked to do different things, right? So obviously in a 4-3, the edge rushing is more on the defensive ends, whereas in a 3-4, it's more on the outside linebackers. So it's going to be interesting to rank those. I've been considering just doing a front seven instead of linebackers and D-line, but not 100% sure about that. And I think with us, as Steven just kind of mentioned, Jabari Zanika is a 4-3 end. I think we're going to use a lot of both. I think we are going to run some 3-4 and some 4-3. So it's going to be even difficult to tell what we're going to be doing this year. I think that Greg Williams likes the 4-3 better, and I think he's going to try to transition us to the 4-3. And that might be a case where that's your 3 linebackers that start, right? You go Avery Williamson on one side, CJ Mosley in the middle, and Jenkins on the other side. And then there you go, right? Because we've been saying, well, we're missing an outside linebacker. Well, now we don't need one, right? If we're doing more 4-3, I think Williamson can play the outside on a 4-3 without a problem. So we'll have to see if that's what they do. But do receivers, get it out of the way. Wide receiver, let's talk about Mims and company. It's time. Jabari Zuniga, man is going to win us games He's a great pick. Yeah, absolutely. I am very happy with that pick because punters are very, very important. It changes the momentum of the game. Like I said, whoever's played football before, you know it. Even if you've just been to a game close enough or paying attention to the sidelines, if a punter has a big-time punt and flips the field position or pins a team deep, the defense is coming out fired up and ready to go. So it does change the momentum for sure. And if they shank one, the defense comes out pissed off, right? So it definitely changed the whole vibe on the sideline for sure. I punted only my freshman year of high school. I was never a very good punter. I was a place shaker. And I remember one time I pinned them on like the 2-yard line. And just the defense running onto the field, it was really, really cool atmosphere. So it definitely has a huge impact on the game. Bryce Huff can play both the end and outside linebacker. Yeah, and I think Huff's definitely going to make the team. I think he's got, out of all the undrafted, he's got the best shot, without a doubt. For someone who doesn't understand defense, can you explain defense formations a little more? Not often you get this much interaction to answer your own question. Yeah, that's the beauty and the curse of being a new YouTuber. The beauty that I get to answer all the questions, and the curse that I just don't have a lot of people following me, right? So we only have 7 to 10 people in a live stream, as opposed to you go into Jets 24/7 or you go see the entertainer and they got hundreds of people in there, right? And you can never get your questions. So from the difference between the 3-4 and the 4-3 is obviously it's the front. So on the 4-3, you obviously have 4 defensive linemen, and you want those edges to be more of the defensive ends to be more pass rushers. So think about like when the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and they had Umenyiora, JPP, Tuck, all these people. They were all defensive ends rushing from the outside, and that's the big thing. And then your D tackles, they don't have to be as big because you got 2 of them there in the middle. You got 4 people on the line. But now only 3 linebackers. Then when you're looking at the 3-4, you usually have that big nose tackle. Think of like Chris Jenkins, some people like that, right? Snacks, right? And then the defensive ends in that formation are really more clogging up the middle and doing different things like that, trying to get pressure up the middle, where the outside linebackers are going to be the ones that are applying the pressure from the outside. So think of like the Denver Broncos with Von Miller and Chubb on the outside linebackers kind of coming in. Do you feel the 3-4 defense is starting to fade out to the 4-3 and Tampa 2 defense? And second part of my question, how do you feel about the Bear defense? So I was always a bigger fan of the 3-4 defense. It does seem to be fading out. I know a lot of teams are going to the 4-3, and even some of these other defenses. It's just tough because these teams are going so pass happy now. You're never really even in these. So like 3-4 versus 4-3 is becoming less of even an importance because you're in your nickel and your sub packages so often. So it's just like I said with everything going on with the league going more passing, I think that's kind of why. I always liked 3-4 because I felt like you had more athletes on the field, the linebackers as opposed to defensive ends. They can move around a little bit more. But then again, you're rushing the ends, and now you're really like rushing 5 guys or maybe 4 guys in one of the ends. Outside linebackers is fading back, but it's just and the Bears. So the Bear. You're talking about the 46 defense. Yeah, I think the thing is, and what I love about Greg Williams and where I think a lot of defenses are going as well is they're looking for versatile pieces. So that's why when you're looking at like an Isaiah Simmons, these players who can play multiple positions and why they're going higher in the draft now, right? They used to be called tweeners and they would go lower in the draft because they're like, well, they're not quite a linebacker, but they're not quite a safety. There's no position for them. And they used to be devalued because of that. Now they're being valued even higher because these teams are going towards this like positionless football almost because they have to match up with all these athletes that are on the offensive side of the ball. So I think you're just going to see a lot more teams just going to get more athletes. You'll still have your big guys on the D line, but they want people that can cover. And that's going to be the biggest thing. I think you have to be able to use multiple different fronts. So I wouldn't say I really have a favorite at this time, but I think what's going to make us be able to excel, make our defense be able to excel, is if they can go into a bunch of different defenses. And I think Greg Williams is trying to build that. So all his concepts are based off that. He said it himself. Yeah. I mean, Buddy Ryan was one of the best ever. No problem, Caleb. Greg Williams, if we can keep him, he's going to be massive for us, more valuable to us than Gase. Yeah, so Greg Williams is very valuable to us on that defensive side. And what I really like about it, and I think this is what they needed to do when Rex Ryan was the coach, is he's the head coach of the defense. Gase is supposed to be the head coach of like the offense. And I think that if we had somebody of that kind of caliber, like a Greg Williams caliber defensive coordinator, but offensive coordinator, I think that we would have had a lot more success. I mean, we did have a lot of success with Rex in the first 2 years, won 2 AFC championship games, but he needed somebody to just control that whole offense. He just worries about the defense and motivating the team, right? And I almost feel like that's what the head coach should be doing, right? They should be the motivator, the leader of the team, but they should be heavily involved in whatever side that they're really good at, right? They became a head coach because they were excellent at one side of the ball. So why not utilize that, and why not have them focus more on the one side that they're great at, right? And then also worry about game management and different things like that. Oh, Devin said he thinks that the 4-3 relies more on players and 3-4 relies more on coaching. Yeah, I can see why you're saying that, because I think in the 3-4 it gives the coaching more creativity as well. I think with more people standing up. I always loved when they go to those things where like there's no people with their hand in the dirt and they're kind of all roaming around before the snap of the ball. I know Rex did that quite a bit. Greg Williams did it a few times this year too. I just think it really throws them off. I love when they do that. By the way, I'm not a hater of Gase. I want to give him the time. Yeah, we have to give him the time, because you look at it, right? It doesn't matter who you wanted to be the head coach last year. If, whoever they were, how much better were they going to do with everything that happened? What I'm just hoping, and I'm really going to be looking at quite a bit, especially early in the season, is I'm really hoping that Gase was holding back with some of his play calls. With everything that went on with Sam Darnold wearing the flak jacket, our offensive line being so bad, I think he was running a very vanilla playbook. And also it was the first year in the system, right? So these guys are trying to learn it. You had 10 or 11 different offensive line combinations, all in a new offense. It's very, very difficult. So I'm hoping now with a second year in the system, even though everything going on with Corona, they've still been able to do virtual meetings, talk about the playbook, installs, things like that. So I'm really hoping that with more consistency along the offensive line and just a second year in the system, Darnold healthy, that will open up the playbook and really get some creative stuff going on. I feel like Greg's coaching style is very similar to Rex. Both are very aggressive and take chances. Yeah, without a doubt. Like I said, the one thing that I question about Greg Williams, because I think I heard him say it during either one of the telecasts or something like that, and I'm going to be looking to see it now, is the way the cornerbacks kind of play. I'm not a huge fan of that. Again, I don't know if it's just how poor our corners were. Maybe with some improved corners, they'll play right. But I don't like how they kind of are always in that chase mode, and then they never turn their head, and they kind of just put their hand up in between and try to knock the ball out. It causes a lot of pass interference calls, a lot of illegal contact, a lot of holding. So they got to do a better job. Like I said, I don't know if that's just lack of talent that was there last year or the way they're being coached up. So that's really been my only issue with that side of the ball. I don't know much about the defensive game, so great to hear you guys talk about it. Yeah, no problem, Karen. That's what we're here for, just trying to help out as much as we can. The players never had time to gel together and fully understand the playbook and practice it on the field. With more time in the system, the offense overall will be able to focus on. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel, Devin. And like I said, you also got to think that he was trying to protect Sam too. I mean, the guy was wearing a flak jacket. I forgot how heavy it was, but they said how heavy it was. It was like ridiculous. What's going on around then instead of plays himself? Yeah. So this year's going to be big to see what they do and how they call the plays. I think Sam Darnold's going to have a lot more say in it as well. I think that that's really, really good. That they seem to be on the same page. And now I'm just thinking about it, and it just kind of came into my head. I kind of want to address something that happened last year. I wasn't on YouTube at the time to kind of give my opinions on it. But I think what was really blown out of proportion, I think it's just a lot of the people that hate Gase, was the fact that they said, "Oh, why did they wait? Why did he wait until Sam came to him to say, hey, this is what I like to do, this is what I don't." There comes a point in time where you want that young quarterback to take ownership, and you want him to say, this is what that's leadership, right? And he wants to bring that out of him, right? So yes, could he went to him and talked to him? Sure, but I think part of it was that he wanted, and the thing is, like, Sam went through a lot too, so it's like you can't just throw too much on the guy at one time. It was Sam kind of coming and saying, "I'm ready for more. I want to take full ownership of this," and that's growth and that's development for a young quarterback. So I was not upset, like, "Oh, why does the quarterback have to come to you to say we need to work this out?" I think that was perfectly fine. Yeah, I think it was like 50. Yeah, that is. It's massive. And again, you want to protect him, right? He had an enlarged spleen. That thing didn't go away. It was still enlarged when he came back. Maybe not as much as when it first happened, but it was still an issue. So, yeah. So, all right, guys, we went a few minutes over here. I really appreciate you guys all coming out. We'll be back again next Sunday, same time, 9 p.m. Go for about an hour and 15 again. Look out for a video around Wednesday or Thursday like I normally do. We will look to do the wide receivers and possibly the linebackers at some point this week. But again, guys, I appreciate it. If you guys haven't already, if you're on Twitter, check out my Twitter at NYSportsMC. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Click the bell so you get all my notifications moving forward. And as always, Jet up.